Hello everyone, and welcome back to Planet Zoo Franchise Mode. We are starting with a bit of bad news actually. I'd been doing a bit of sprucing up and editing of the habitat and the exhibit, and when I came back to do this latest episode, our saved file has completely corrupted. I can't find a rollback or anything, so we're essentially having to start from scratch. However, I had saved our first two habitats as blueprints, so all's not lost. But this is going to be a slightly longer episode so we can restore the missing habitats and add new ones so we're still progressing by the end of it. Anyway, without further ado, let's fire up the speed build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out some of the extremely laborious tasks like starting paths and stuff, but we will be having a slightly different layout to the grid-like start of the first two episodes. The plan is actually to make our info kiosk and staff room look good, replace our missing habitats, and build two new ones to get us back on track. First up, the information kiosk. So I've created a slightly elevated staircase and we're surrounding this with a deck. Then we'll build it out into a sort of 3x1 metre shop and use a combination of plaster and light wood walls to make it stand out. Slightly frustratingly, but also slightly beneficial, is I did do some research while I was messing around in the last episode and doing the sprucing up of the habitats and things like that. The research has carried over, so we've got that research unlocked for our franchise. It kind of gives us a bit of a head start and a little bit more to play with, so I'm quite happy with that because it means we can create some nice varied builds rather than just having plaster, breeze block, all the sort of basic stuff that you get. What I want to do is create this like rustic and modern feel at the same time, and that's going to carry throughout the whole zoo. So what we're doing here is we're making a nice little combination of these nice light wood walls with white plaster. And it just gives it this really like nice feel. I like how they contrast together. That's probably going to be something that we carry on. And what we'll probably do is on some of our flat roofs we'll put sort of mulch piles in, and then we'll fill those with plants so they kind of look like these eco buildings. Anyway, we're just going to finish off our deck here, and then we need to put a roof on this place. We're going to go with a wooden roof, and that's going to jut out over here and create this kind of like awning. And we'll put some plants and things hanging down from it. We just need to put some posts in to give this structure a little bit of safety. It doesn't look particularly safe right now. It looks like it's just going to fall over as soon as someone queues up. There we are. And then just some long fence posts at the top there. And what we'll do is we'll probably put some cross beams on it at a later date, or maybe off cam, just to kind of tighten it up and make it look a bit more structurally sound, because still at the moment having those posts barely holding the thing up, I would imagine. So that's pretty much done. That looks pretty good. It's basic, but it's in and it looks the part rather than just having it. Next, we'll just pop our creepy crawly habitat back in. That's all like ready to go. I do think it's a good idea to take out the extra two exhibits that I put in because they were causing major havoc with crowd control. It just got a bit of a mess. Next, we're going to do our staff building, as you can see here. And this is just going to be a pathing nightmare until I can work it out. But the reason that I'm putting the staff building here is it's right in the centre, and what I can now do is build out my path so it kind of curves all the way around that staff building and have 4 habitats that are accessible by our staff building, which will be hidden by the habitats. So I think it'll look really nice, and then the staff path can carry on through the other side potentially, or carry on looping round, and then the staff can have access to the area that will be built behind that big circular path. I'm already spotting just at the top of the screen there, I'm probably going to have some congestion on the path. So that may need to be expanded at some other time, but we'll see how that goes anyway. I can see I had a lot of trouble with the pathing here, trying to keep the staff building small and tight, but we'll get there in the end. So as you can see, we've kind of just skipped on a little bit. We've put some wooden floor tiles down, and we're just finishing off our wall here. And what this is going to be kind of like a semi-open, so this isn't going to have a roof on it. What we'll do is we'll put some flat roofs on top of the staff buildings, and then there'll kind of be this eco building type feel to it. So we'll put some, where you can see the path, we'll put some mulch down to kind of cover that area up because it is going to be inaccessible anyway. And then we'll put some plants and stuff in there. I think it's going to look really nice, and it will blend in with the kind of atmosphere that the park is trying to create. just replacing some wood tiles here. Get a little kind of balcony feel going to it, and then fill in the internal areas. Done. Or thereabouts anyway. Just put some balconies here. I keep saying balconies, they're just fences really. No, we want plaster on that side. Yep, wood on the inside, wonderful. And what we'll do now is we'll create those raised patches of dirt. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in and then raise them up a little bit so they're almost in line with the fences that were created on the roof. We're going to do that with all of the roofs and some of the flat floor here. So as you can see in the distance, there's those mulch piles put in place. You'll also see that I put the warthog and the ostrich habitat back in. I didn't want to show that because you've already seen me build it, so what was the point? It had a few adjustments, but it's pretty much exactly the same as what we had. And this time I remembered to put the ostrich feeder in because I realised I'd forgotten to do that. So next we're going to create a small habitat for tortoises. We're going to put both the Galapagos and the Aldabra tortoises in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create kind of like a miniature cave system that covers the entire back of this so that there's plenty of space for them to hide. Put the tortoises in first and then kind of adjusted their habitat so that it was the correct environment for them. And now we'll start building some rock formations. So it's going to kind of blend in with this building so it looks like we've built the building on top of this rock face that was already here. And it's just going to make that building have a little bit of synergy with the rest of the habitat so that it doesn't look like it's just been thrown down on top of it. I want to kind of make everything in this park fit like it's one giant puzzle rather than looking really unnatural and forced. A lot of my builds kind of already had that feel because I haven't yet started to get more creative with things, so this is all just kind of an experiment for me, kind of playing with the textures and how things fit together and making things look nice and natural. It's been really fun actually, and I've quite enjoyed doing this series because normally if I was just playing solo I wouldn't really do that, I'd just throw things down, but I feel like there's an added pressure to make things look good and look right. So it has been quite nice because it's forced me to get creative with the game, and this game is all about creativity, so I'm excited. And what will be interesting actually as the things develop and as we do more episodes and I get more creative and more interested in the kind of game's mechanics, we'll go back to our old habitats and go, my god, that's terrible. So I think that's going to be a really nice kind of experience. So we've got a lot of stressed animals, and it's because we've put them in and we haven't finished the habitat, and I'm letting the simulation run. But what I want to do is I want to create this cave basically. Once this one's done, we'll duplicate it across until there's enough hiding space for all of the tortoises, and then we can do some touch-ups off camera so that they don't all look like copy-paste jobs. That'll happen off cam, don't want to show that, just want to kind of get things back to normal. So we're just going to dupe it now, and there we go. So this is kind of what it looks like finished. We've got a little viewing area here that I'm going to make glass so that people walking around this part of the park can actually see inside. Perfect. And then we just need to put in their feeders, water and bedding. And as you can see, you can really tell that it's a copy-paste job at the moment until we get some additional rocks on top and put some bit of foliage and things in, and then it'll look a lot better. Get some enrichment in. Again, we benefited from a little bit of research. And next we're going to do another habitat. And I think I don't really like that path, so we'll take that out. What I want to do is I want to raise this path up a little bit so there's an upper viewing area, and then at the top end where the crowd is gathered we're going to create another viewing area. And what that might mean is I have to rotate the entire turtle habitat so that we don't get congestion in that area, because that's definitely where we're going to get it, this part where the path merges into like a Y, because people are looking at the ostriches, the warthogs and the turtles and using the information kiosk, so that's a big bottleneck of people. That's something we can look at another time. So what I've done here is to raise my path just a little bit. I've raised the earth itself and the path has conformed to that. Oh, by the way, yeah, in case I haven't told you, this is a saltwater crocodile habitat, which I think is going to be a big pull. They don't require a great deal of maintenance. They're quite expensive on food, but they only have one kind of large meal and then they're set for a little while. And we're doing a above ground viewing area where this path curves round, and an underwater viewing area directly across from the turtle habitat. That I think is going to be really nice. We're going to make it look really good, nice and blended in, and I think it's going to be a great pull for us. What we're going to do with this other area near the entrance is we're going to create a little preview, bit of signage pointing people towards the raised area where they can watch them being fed and watch them basking in the sun and things like that. I'm going to drag our barrier right up to the info kiosk, and what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to create a little bit more raised earth here and then remove that. We'll put some trees and things on there. It's going to be inaccessible for the crocs because there's not going to be a lot of space, but it's going to give us an opportunity to get creative and fill in that ugly area directly behind the info kiosk rather than just having the water going right up to it. These guys don't need large barriers, high barriers should I say, and that's good because more space for viewing. But we will be creating some rocky outcrops that obscure the view of the visitors so that they get a little bit of privacy. I'm just curving these glass barriers, but I think they may end up covered anyway, but we'll leave it in for now. It looks okay. I'll get a bit better at that in the future, I guess. So next we want to put in our staff entrance. We'll just stick it here and we'll try and cover that over. So next up, making this place look a little bit pretty. Put some rocks in. You can see our crocodiles already in there. I'm just going to make this look nice and blended. And I'll do some touch-ups off camera to finish it all off. Just so that it doesn't look like the ground itself just curves right down. And then we can cover up the barrier here. I've been trying to play with a little bit of mossy rock and having them kind of just stick out a touch. Just me experimenting, and it gives me kind of like a barometer for doing off-camera edits so that I can remember where I was and what I was doing. But yeah, I think that looks nice. It certainly makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Yeah, that's okay. It's all just experimenting, playing with stuff. I keep using the dynamic rocks. I just realised that's where I'm having the issue. Using dynamic mossy rocks. If I just use normal mossy rocks, would be alright. So we'll just pop a few plants in. You can see the other croc there just in the water already. And then we're going to put a big bamboo tree line right there. Just bring it down a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. And then some more planters. Okay, they don't like those lily pads, so we'll put something else in at some point. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a few rocky templates to make the basking area look more three-dimensional. Problem is when you put these rocks in, you lose navigable area for the crocodiles. So we need to be aware of that and not put too much in. One of the things that I noticed when I was building the ostrich habitat and the warthog habitat is using the large reeds. Obviously they can't walk through them or anything, and it was just causing them untold stress because I'd put them down and then not realised that that was going to be an issue. So I was actually eating into their space. And while this build's been going on, I've been getting loads of notifications saying they're stressed, and I've been thinking, why? They've got places to hide, and it was actually I'd cut them off from their habitat hiding place. So a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to make a template out of these, then I'm going to copy and paste that, and then we can try and make all of the land textures conform to this rocky outcrop, because they need a lot of sand, a lot of dirt, not too much grass, and that's it. There we go, duplicating that in. Let's do a tour. So you come in the entrance, you see this lovely sign for the crocodile exhibit, and that makes you want to go over in one direction, but you know, we'll keep it that way for now. Looking really good. We put a few more lily pads in there, a couple of grasses and things on this rocky outcrop, and built up some rocks around the info kiosk. Put some planters outside that. Coming round, we put some shush, be quiet signs when you're looking at the tortoises because they were getting really stressed out. Down here is our underwater viewing area with our feeder. That is in place. I've also made a little waterfall here. We're going to touch all of this up off camera for the next episode, finish off obscuring that barrier, We did do a little bit of an overkill on the rocks, so we've kind of sorted that out a little bit, but again, I'll do some touch-ups off camera. Got our information boards in, people are watching when the crocs aren't in the water. The water did end up coming up and overfilling and taking over those planters, but it looks really quite nice that it's kind of flooded that area. In the insect habitat, we did take out the extra 2 exhibits, and it's kind of made the flow of people a little bit better. Over at our warthogs and ostriches, again, we're getting a bit stressed out with all of the noise. Now that there aren't a lot of people going around that area at the moment, it seems a little bit better. We've also got 2 little baby warthogs, as you can see right there, swimming in their watering hole. Further in, I think we do have a pregnant ostrich now, sleeping in there. And the place just looks a lot more vibrant, a lot more inviting, and a lot more fleshed out. Our staff building's pretty much finished off. I just need to put some plants in there. But everything being used perfectly and easy to access. We do have a broken water purifier, so we'll need to sort that one out. We'll just come through this window here and loop around for one last look at the park before we finish. So next episode, it's all development, all making progress. Off cam, I'm going to sort all of this out and make it look nice. We'll start off the next episode with a nice little tour of how I've got on. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry a lot of it was repairing damage that was done, but I think we're in a much better position to push on and progress. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, give me a like and a subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.